Hi guys, this is Result Report Podcast. I'm Isaac Woodall here by myself. I'm going to be talking about the NBA free agency. You guys can join in and just give me your thoughts through a comment if that's even available on podcasts. I'm not sure if it is. But it's NBA free agency that just started. And we've got some news to talk about, some NFL trades as well. And I'm going to be giving my input on what happened, maybe some grades. And we'll just start with the note that the Milwaukee Bucks have just waived Damian Lillard, the future Hall of Famer, 9-time All-Star, 10th in the league in points per game, 24.9 points per game. And it's really weird because for now, it's going to look good, but who knows? Maybe he'd be back for the playoffs. He did tear his Achilles. He was going to be out for most, if not all, of next season. And they used that money to go sign Miles Turner, center for the Indiana Pacers. Pacers averaged 15 points and 6 rebounds. But the most important thing about this is not either of these players. It's Giannis Antetokounmpo, who has expressed his desire to win another championship in Milwaukee. It is clear that that is what he wants, and if he doesn't get that, if he doesn't think he can get that with the roster they have, he's going to request a trade, and the Bucks are going to do what is best for him, especially after all they've already gotten from him. And his reaction to this, some Bucks fans are like, yay, we just got so much better because Lillard was washed. Well, Miles Turner did have a terrible NBA Finals. But Giannis said he is not pleased with the move of just getting rid of him. They're going to stretch his contract, and they're going to be paying him $22 million every year over 5 seasons. And basically, they're paying for him, but they also just added Miles Turner for it. I think also you have to look at the Pacers side of things. Is 4 years, $107 million. So he's making $27 million. They're not going to luxury tax, at least not yet. They have the mid-level exception now. And they can still go out and get another center. But a lot of people are speculating that this is probably the end of Indy's championship window. I would say, as long as they can keep this roster intact, for the most part, like the bench, they should keep at least some of their bench. They should not be losing any trades, anything like that. If they can keep their roster intact, by the time Halliburton returns, I think they still have a couple more years to win a championship. I'm not saying that they will, though. They might not. I'm just saying, just because of one injury here, which really did hurt them, that doesn't mean that they're completely out of contention to winning another championship with Halliburton on their team. But it's going to have to be, they're going to hope for a quick recovery. This is just really unfortunate because we saw just how quickly the Boston Celtics folded up now here. We'll talk about that a bit later, but this is just some big news. And of all places, Miles Turner went to a team the Pacers hate, the Bucks. The Bucks have done a good job retaining key players. They've kept Gary Trent Jr., Bobby Portis, Taurean Prince, just players like that. Jericho Sims. But their bench is not very good. I don't know if they're going to be starting Ryan Rollins or something next season, but their guard situation is not good. And now I think definitely Giannis is going to be carrying this team. But what's next for Indiana? It's signing a new center right now before it becomes too late because the Lakers still haven't done anything. And some people are speculating that this is because they're going to make a trade for Giannis Antetokounmpo, but they probably have to give up Luka to do that. And I just don't think he's going to end up in LA. if he goes anywhere of all places. Giannis has not said he wants to leave yet. We're just speculating about this, and he'd probably be mad at me right now if he heard this. But at this point, I thought he was going to be okay with coming back next year, but this is a move he didn't like. He doesn't think this is best for them to win a championship again in Milwaukee because he's thinking long-term. And right now, this team is not set up for long-term success at all. Miles Turner's getting old. I think he was just in his prime. I think by the end of his contract, he will definitely be on the wrong side of his prime, and they're going to be looking at him as overpaid. I knew he would be overpaid wherever he went. Even if he returned with Indy, he would definitely be overpaid by the end of his contract. And he took advantage of this. And he's getting a lot of praise for making the NBA Finals when he had a terrible series. But he's still a great player. He could really work on rebounding the ball. He can shoot it when he's hot. That's pretty great for the Bucks. But now he's gone from Indiana. And now they're going to be looking for a center. They picked up Tony Bradley's team option. Isaiah Jackson's their restricted free agent. And Thomas Bryant's an unrestricted free agent. But they're going to need a starting center. They should probably just try to quickly re-sign. Oh, here's some news. The Milwaukee Bucks are trading Pat Connaughton and 2 of their own second-round picks, 2031 and 2032, to the Charlotte Hornets for Vasily Micic. Yeah. I was just saying the Bucks don't have many guard depth. That is exactly going to be hurting them. That is the last thing they needed to do. This is news I literally just got, but interesting. And I never heard of this guy they're getting. Hornets have gotten Colin Sexton and Pat Connaughton now. So that's a bench player, Pat Connaughton, but it's kind of just the fact that the Hornets are doing something is inspiring. But can LaMelo stay healthy? Is LaMelo the guy for them? But let's get back to the Pacers and what they're going to do with their center. Obi Toppin right now would probably be the guy to start at center. He's probably a better... Well, Siakam can play center, but I think I'd rather have Siakam at forward and Toppin at center if I was the Pacers. But I think they're going to do something. They have Tony Bradley back. I don't think Thomas Bryant's a starting center. Isaiah Jackson's a restricted free agent. He might come back. The Pacers control that. Mo Wagner's available. And it doesn't look like Orlando's going to be wanting him back because they declined his team option. And Jackson Hayes is still out there from the Lakers, but he played terrible in that first-round series. I just think what the Pacers should be doing, going after DeAndre Ayton, they can afford that. And then maybe just a small contract for Thomas Bryant, maybe like $2 million or something. Ayton, you can get him for like $14 million. They can pay up to $14.1 million. They should go for maybe like, they should try to underpay him a little bit by a couple million and then get Thomas Bryant as well. Because I think it's good to have a shooting big man. And Thomas Bryant can certainly do that. But he's not that good at rebounding either. Ayton can rebound the ball, averaged 14 points per game with Portland. And they've made it clear they are moving on from him. And now Indiana just seems like... Indiana and the Lakers seem like definitely those are 2 spots that you should try to go that really, really need a center. Lakers more desperately, but Maxi Kleber right now would be their starting center. And I think they got him in a trade, in the Luka trade. The Lakers need a center really, really badly. They let Dorian Finney-Smith go, who gets you some height. And they got Jake LaRavia. They've been letting guys go. They let Miles Turner go. If the Bucks were able to get him, of all teams, the Bucks, and the Lakers couldn't, that is a very bad sign. And interestingly enough, the Lakers did have LeBron pick up their player option, which usually means, oh, yay, he's going to come back next year. No. Actually, LeBron has signed 9 contracts in his career. 8 of them have included player options. This is the first time he's ever opted in, which is weird. Now, you can't just say that's why he wants to be traded, but he's made it clear that he wants to win a championship. Another one. I don't know if that's possible, but with his talent, the best place I would see him going is Cleveland. And that's honestly true because I think they can still win a championship. It would be a short-term thing. But remember, the Lakers, he has a no-trade clause, of course. One of 2 players, him and Bradley Beal, that need permission. You need their permission to trade them. And, yeah, it's LeBron James. I don't think they'd have to give much up either. Maybe just like Jared Allen. I know he's a good center, but as long as you don't give up Mitchell or Mobley, I think you're good. I would rather give up Garland, but I don't think the Lakers are going to want to have 2 point guards since they already have Luka Doncic. But they did have Luka and Brunson. Seemed to work out well. But now, so that was just the loser of the offseason. Luka's probably the future of the Lakers. But LeBron's actually going to be into his 8th year with the Lakers if he decides to stay there. He has not said he wants to be traded yet, but his agent has also explained that the Lakers are trying to both prioritize what LeBron wants and a young future, which they're very old right now. They don't have very young players. Like, their starting lineup here was it was Luka, point guard. I think shooting guard was Reeves. He's good and young. Luka's still he's probably I think he's 26 now or something. He's in his prime, but who knows? He might have just already been out of it since he got traded. And now, if they don't have a very good roster, the thing to think about is he can sign an extension right here. But if he doesn't do that, he's going to be a free agent next season. That quickly. They give up AD, and then Luka's a free agent. That is the last thing they want to have happen. But things are not looking good for either the Bucks or Lakers. I don't think it's going to be long before Giannis wants out. But also, we've been talking about the losers here. How about we talk about the winners? I think biggest winner here is the Houston Rockets. Okay, they were 52-30 last season. Got the 2 seed in the West. Lost in 7 first round of the Warriors. Likely because they got dominated from the 3-point line. The Warriors could shoot the ball extremely well. The Rockets shot the ball horribly. If Amen Thompson gets a jump shot on him, man, that'll be scary. But he doesn't have that yet. So they needed to make a move. They traded Dylan Brooks and Jalen Green, who is their leading scorer, to the Suns for Kevin Durant. They also gave up the 10th pick. But it was nothing bad. It was nothing extremely bad. I think the Suns got fleeced here. But it was nothing really bad that would really hurt the Rockets long term. I think, Durant shot 43% from 3. Of course, he is very, very talented. And I think the Rockets made the right move here. Also, they were able to re-sign Fred VanVleet for only $25 million a year when he was making $42 million a year ago. He took a $17 million pay cut, but he's already super stinking rich that he's probably okay with the... What was I talking about? Yeah, VanVleet is probably okay with the young talent that the Rockets have and being able to get Durant for the chance to win a second championship. I think he's very he's a good veteran you can get on your team. And also Durant on them now. Then also, let's talk about what else they did. They extended Jabari Smith Jr. 5 years, $122 million. And now that they gave up Jalen Green and Dylan Brooks, maybe there will be room for Reed Shepherd to come in and make a bigger impact. Number 3 overall pick in the draft. They also signed Dorian Finney-Smith from the Lakers. They signed Clint Capella from the Hawks. Now they have 3 good centers. Clint Capella is kind of past his prime now. So is Steven Adams, but he can still get offensive rebounds. It's Alperen Sengun, Steven Adams, and Clint Capella. That's good. We might not see as much time from Clint Capella. But, yeah. Speaking of Giannis, how we were talking about earlier, he posted on X. It was like a don't know what's going on. It said don't know what's going on right now, mood 100, something like that. And we will have to see if he is satisfied with what the Bucks are doing. Personally, I think they're very, very far from championship contention. I don't think they were that close even with Lillard. They're very far without him. Miles Turner is not going to change everything for the Bucks. And I'm just going to say that right now. He's not going to change everything for them. He can maybe be good for you and get you some shots and maybe some rebounds too. But he's not going to make them a championship team. I don't think this is enough for the Bucks. I think Giannis, best for him is to move on. But yeah, they've returned their players, but they didn't do anything really good for keeping a championship team. I think their championship window is done. They tried to extend it. They could not. They are done with this whole thing. The Giannis era, I think, is over. And it's time to move on. That's how I feel. Maybe he feels different. Maybe the Bucks feel different. I just disagree with what they did. And the Pacers are also in panic mode. They need to get a center, and they need to get it now. But I just really don't want both the Pacers and Celtics to have to go into rebuilds. I'm not a Celtics fan, but they built a roster and it was so good. And injuries, they suck. I hate injuries. And now they're in rebuilds. The Celtics look to be in a rebuild. They're keeping their core. Pacers have their best players still under contract. Some people are making rumors about trading Siakam. I doubt that's going to happen. And the Bucks are definitely going to be rebuilding if Giannis leaves. You need to have a core of a future of something. Miles Turner is not going to be part of a core. They had one, and they traded it. They traded for Damian Lillard. That might have been, that was probably a big, big mistake. Just look at that roster where they won 58 games. But they got eliminated by the 8 seed in 5. That was a good roster. And when they traded for Lillard, they should have remembered he did not have playoff success at all. The best he's ever done is make the conference finals and then get swept. He's never won a conference finals game in his career. I don't think in retrospect, I think Holiday is a better playmaker. Lillard can shoot the ball pretty good, extremely well. But Holiday is a better point guard and defender than Lillard is. Chris Middleton, too. They gave him up for Kyle Kuzma. Kyle Kuzma sucks. Now it looks like their starting lineup is going to have to be Ryan Rollins, Gary Trent Jr., Kyle Kuzma, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and Miles Turner. Notice I left Bobby Portis off the bench. Ryan Rollins is a restricted free agent, but I don't know if they can afford him now. If they could even, I was shocked they could afford Turner. I'm shocked they did that. But the East is wide open. The Knicks are taking advantage of that. They signed Jordan Clarkson, who averages 16 points per game for Utah. He's 33. He's going to probably come off the bench. Utah gave him a buyout. Utah is just giving up everything they have already. Oh my gosh, they're in a very bad situation. But yes, the East is wide open. They're taking advantage. The Cavs traded Isaac Okoro for Lonzo Ball. Then they let Ty Jerome walk and go to Memphis. Memphis traded Desmond Bane to Orlando for KCP, Cole Anthony, 5 first-round picks. Yes, 5. And Memphis is thinking about the future, definitely. They gave Jaren Jackson Jr. a 5-year extension worth $240 million. I think that the Grizzlies are not... I don't think Morant is the best for them for playoff success. He's had 1 series win in 4 playoff appearances. 2 of them, they got the 2 seed, and 2 of them, they got the 8 seed. When he's the 8 seed, they're 1-8. When he's the 2 seed, including the second round, he is 8-10. I think they need to move on, but they refuse to do that. I think they need a new franchise guy, but they're going to have to go with him now. I don't know. It's tough. But there are teams in the West and the East taking advantage of this, and one of them is definitely the Atlanta Hawks. Got Kristaps Porzingis from the Boston Celtics. All they had to give up was George Niang and I think maybe a first, but they didn't really have to give up much. And they signed Nickeil Alexander-Walker and Luke Kennard, good role players and shooters, good guards. But also something people aren't really talking about. If this season doesn't go well for the Hawks, Trae Young's going to have a player option in a year. He can opt out and then he can walk. Just like that, the Hawks are looking for a new guy. But this is a good lineup that the Hawks have. Just think about this, okay? Trae Young, Zachary Risachet, Dyson Daniels, Jalen Johnson, and Kristaps Porzingis. Now, you might have to have Risachet come off the bench for Alexander Walker, just the experience and the versatility that he brings. Might be a bit better. Though, I still think this Hawks roster is poised to make a run that could potentially see them back in the finals, which we haven't seen in a very long time. Atlanta's got a good core. I don't know if they're going to be able to keep it. Like, these young players that they found, besides Trae Young, have turned out well so far. Just like Jalen Johnson, they had a great trade with Dyson Daniels. The DeJounte Murray thing did not work out there. That was a great trade for them. Could have won Defensive Player of the Year. If I had a choice, I would give it to Wembanyama, but the 65-game rule doesn't allow that. And another winner it's my NBA champion pick for next season. This was before free agency. This was literally, I picked this right after the Thunder win the championship. The Denver Nuggets. They have a good team. I think they needed to move on from Michael Porter Jr. I just don't think he was the best for them. He couldn't have. He just. I think they could have found better, and they did. They got Cam Johnson. They had to give up a first and Michael Porter Jr. a 2032 first, which will be college freshman from my class. Goodness me, that's in a long time. I'm going to be a college freshman when that happens, when they make that selection. I will be like going into sophomore, something like that. I'll be in college. That's very long-term thinking. But also, the Nets get a lot of draft picks, but they're terrible at drafting. They had 5 bad picks that they made. And that is why they're not good. That's why they never find someone. And then they always go for like big three, or they've tried to do that multiple times. Then those picks they gave up to the Celtics ended up being Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. But yeah, the Denver Nuggets also signed Bruce Brown to a 1-year deal. He was with them the year they won the championship, 2023. Key role player. He ended up getting overpaid with the Pacers and Raptors, and then with the Pelicans too. He was traded multiple times. Smart thinking by him. And now he's right back where he was in Denver. And the Nuggets just got even better. I think if Gordon was fully healthy, I think they could have had a chance to beat the Thunder. I still think Thunder would have won. Speaking of the Thunder, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and the Thunder have agreed to a 4-year, $285 million Supermax contract extension, which will last until 2030-2031 season. It will be through that year. That's $71 million per year. Right now, that's a record. But Devin Booker is in line to make a $75 million per year extension for 2 years. It'll be $150 million, and it's all they have really for their future. By the time that contract ends, he will be in his 17th year with Phoenix, and it's just crazy. The players are getting paid that much right now. But the Thunder, the lineup is supposed to look the same. SGA, Williams, Dort, Holmgren, Hardenstein. That's what it's probably going to be. They drafted Thomas Sorber. I'm starting to wonder if the CBA is going to really start stopping this runs from happening. They've tried. I think injuries have stopped the Celtics here. But, man, I just don't like the way the Thunder play. They foul a lot on defense. They get away with push-offs and travels, honestly. But that's just my opinion. You don't have to feel that way. And I said we were going to talk about the NFL at the beginning. I don't know if I did, but we are right now. Just shortly, the Dolphins have traded Jonnu Smith and Jalen Ramsey, who are probably a little washed, for Minkah Fitzpatrick. They traded with the Steelers. 28 years old, 3-time All-Pro safety. And I think he's one of the top safeties in the NFL. Who wouldn't think that? The Dolphins just got better. I think they definitely won this trade. Those players were a little washed. Definitely won the trade. It's not even close. Steelers are getting old. Aaron Rodgers is going to suck. Who knows what's next? But still, I think if Tua's injured, Dolphins, no way they win any playoff games. They haven't really won any playoff games in a very long time either. Anyway, but I think this is going to do it for our Result Report podcast. I might make an excerpt for a real episode. Thanks for listening. See you later. This is Isaac Woodall signing out.